Hello and welcome to another Your Lurgan podcast. I'm Donagh McKeown.
And I'm Michael Scott. Hello.
Hello. And one of us has got a war wound or two. I better quickly explain that for those of you watching really closely. The nose is a little bit damaged this week because of an incident. I can't call it an incident. It was I was the only other person involved. Oh yes, and a big lump of tarmac. You got to see the lump of tarmac and see what damage they suffered. But that's for another story. So we're actually recording the podcast kind of remotely today. I'm remote. I'm very much far away from Lurgan. I hope you're not missing me too much. And Michael is back at his home base, but for 1 week only. We hope to be back out on the streets.
Fingers crossed. May as well explain. I'm in isolation. So last week you may recall that I was at home as well. That COVID had finally reached the Scott household. Well, I'd managed to escape COVID for 2 years, and yet here we are. I've managed to get caught up with me this week. So yeah, you may notice a bit of coughing going on in the background of this podcast today. That's me and me alone. But I'm doing okay. I'm all right. I mean, I have a bit of a cough now. It was worse yesterday. I think the worst thing is though, I don't know if other people experience this, never they had it. This strange sensation of being really tired in the evening, but then going to bed and then not being able to sleep. It's been very, very annoying for me. Like last night, I was in bed for 10 to 10, which is highly unusual for me because usually I'm burning the midnight oil. But got in the bed last night and could not sleep. And then I woke up this morning. I slept in this morning. My boss listens to this. Hello, Jean. So I'll give you a shout out. And I did sleep in this morning, I have to be honest, but don't worry, I'll make up the hours. But,
well, yeah. The man is not well. The man is not well,
Yeah.
And it's more than the regular flu. It's not a man flu.
Oh no! It's definitely it's definitely real. This COVID, yeah.
I haven't been there myself yet. Maybe in front of me, and others will have had much worse scenarios, as you know, only too well and rather too sadly. Some people no longer with us because of all of this. We're still going to look at the stories today. Quite a few stories emerging, and one exclusive story, or at least exclusive to us, that you're breaking later on in the day, as it were.
Yeah, no, not the most earth-shattering of stories, to be quite honest on it, but it's a story which we're bringing on the website later on this evening. And I know it's an issue which annoys a lot of people, and that's vandalism in play parks. In fact, I think it was last weekend I recorded at least 3 of the play parks in the area had vandalism take place. And we're talking about graffiti, we're talking about glass being broken, that kind of things, which generally just cause a lot of annoyance, but they also cause a lot of expense to the council as well, who in recent times have actually spent a lot of money in investing in the play parks. A lot of people have noticed, like even of Oxford Island, which has got a brand new play park, Tanningmore Gardens as well, brand new one there. But then in the outlying villages and places like that, there's been new play parks created. And the ones we're talking about specifically here last weekend were on the Avenue Road in Lurgan, and then also in Waringstown, Donagh. Basically, a lot of graffiti going on in those places. So we contacted the council to see, what's being done, what can be done, and we got a statement back from the Lord Mayor himself, Councillor Paul Greenfield, who said he'd been left saddened by these incidents, and that's not a problem that's unique to Lurgan, of course, but it's not a problem that's unique to the council at all. I mean, this goes on everywhere, but he basically is imploring people that if they see it, to report it and try and discourage those who are behind it from doing it.
It's a strange one in the sense all of this happens almost in the darkness of night, and you can never figure out who's actually involved or engaged. Is young people, older people, who the culprits are? Not that that's the big solution to kind of stopping it, but it's a starting point, isn't it?
Well, the thing is, you'll see some of the pictures we have of the graffiti which has been spray painted in the Avenue Road. and they're starting to use these tags, they call them, and so they maybe are starting to become a wee bit more identifiable in that regard. Plus, I mean, speaking as a parent who's gone into parks recently, kids these days are getting a wee bit more brazen. I mean, I was in a play park not that long ago with my wee man who's 3, and he has one of these wee I can't remember what the exact term was. It was one of these wee bikes that doesn't have pedals on it, like a wee push bike type thing. And you can't see my feet, by the way, whenever I'm doing that. It's hilarious. But the kids were, like, he had parked his bike at the side of the park and had gone to play in the swings or something like that. They're just left the bike sitting there. Well, I was keeping an eye out, and these kids just went over and just lifted it. Like, and we're talking kids who are about 9, 10, 11 here, jumping on this wee 3-year-old's bike and stuff. I was like, lads, do you not think you should better leave that alone? And the abuse that came out of them was unreal. Like, I would never have dreamt to come out with some of the stuff there come out of whenever I was that age. Wouldn't have known to say it for a start. And the parents weren't about.
You mentioned that the tags that the tags that you were talking about. Can you give us an idea of what kind of area, or maybe it's best not to talk about them, perhaps?
In terms of what do you mean, Donagh? Do you mean
what are these tags that you're talking about? Are they like hashtags, that sort of thing?
It's almost like a signature. Do you know, like I'm going to give you a really bad example here, but in The Simpsons, right? Bart Simpson would have gone around and signed his artwork off Alberto. It's that type of thing, right? So I'm looking at one here at the minute, which is signed H2S, which I believe is hard to stop, which, to be fair, is accurate. It is hard to stop. But, that's the sort of thing we're talking about. I mean, I'm sure there's kids out there who know who's doing this. So that's why the counsellors sort of opinion the parents to talk to their children and implore on them to basically cut this out. Because at the end of the day, the people who are the council's paying to have this cleaned up, but where does the council get the money from to clean it up? From you and me as ratepayers. So it's in everybody's interests to, at least try and have these conversations and try and get it knocked in the head.
Well, one of the interesting things I was trying to kind of find out about and talk and develop was this idea of having the murals on the wall. An extension of that is to find areas where you can actually put your own graffiti up, as it were. We have a few walls in Lurgan that have a minuscule of graffiti, but they're artistic graffiti, if you understand.
Yeah,
and is there a scheme to be developed here, an opportunity to be developed? I mean, it's another way of looking at the same problem. We know it's going to happen, so why don't we kind of control it or allow it to be controlled, allow the expression, give the recognition on a wall or an occasion that doesn't really matter to people, or just isn't in the visible area.
I get where you're coming from here, but from what I can gather and from what I'm looking at here, we're talking about kids who maybe aren't even out of primary school yet. We're talking about kids who are maybe by the way, I want to make clear here, not all kids are bad, and these kids who are doing this aren't bad people either. Let's make that completely clear. We're talking here about a specific issue, and which people don't like. They don't like seeing this sort of graffiti going on. It makes the place untidy. We're not saying they're bad kids for doing it, but we're talking in what we're saying. What I'm trying to say is, yes, that's a great idea. Having those areas where people could go and do their graffiti and do a bit of artwork and whatever else. That's perfectly great. I just don't think that what we're talking about here has the same. I think it's just wanton vandalism compared to going out and doing a bit of artwork and having those walls where people could go and do a special bit of artwork.
So our next story, Michael, a story of tragedy 25 years on, and inquiry still being made. Give us the background to this particular story and why questions are being asked again at this time.
Yeah, so this is the murder, which I'm sure many people will recall in 1997 of Constable John Graham and Reserve Constable David Johnson, which took place in Lurgan Church Walk. I think the two officers were conducting a beating patrol in Church Walk at the time, two gunmen ran up behind them and shot them at close range. And despite the best efforts of doctors from a nearby surgery, both officers died at the scene. Now, that occurred on the 16th of June, 1997. So it was 25th year anniversary on Thursday of that. So both officers, they were married, they were in their 30s, had young families. And so, those young families never got to see their daddy, and so they lost a father. And they've been making appeals to basically try and find the people who were behind this attack. And I think there was also an appeal within that from Detective Superintendent Stephen Wright from the Legacy Investigation Branch, who said, they were serving the local community. These people were trying to help the area. And he asked people to stop and think about that. What these people were just trying to help the community. They were murdered for no other reason than for being police officers. And he basically, I'll quote him here: "In the years since the brutal murders, circumstances and allegiances may have changed. People's lifestyles change. And I want those to know who were involved that day, search their consciences and come forward to the police." So obviously this is, it's the 25th murder or 25th anniversary of that murder. Times have changed. Maybe somebody out there knows something about it, and the police are appealing, and the families obviously as well, appealing that somebody will come forward and help those families through the grieving process by bringing some closure to this sad story.
There are precedents for this where cases have been reopened after a long time, and information has come through that led to answers that you don't expect. So there are precedents and worth it. I can't say that I remember as directly as yourself, Michael, largely because I lived in England for a number of years from 96 to 99, but I was aware of it and certainly in subsequent years. And peace to those who are left behind, and hopefully answers will come forward.
Yeah. They're in particular, they're looking for people who may have seen the gunmen make off, because Lurgan at that stage, it was in broad daylight. I'm sure people recall there have been people about the town at the time. They're asking if anybody saw the gunmen make off. Did they see a green coloured Rover in the vicinity of Church Walk being abandoned and setting fire in the Cavalcade estate? So if anybody has any information, the usual police numbers are what you should contact.
We're going to move on now with a very different story that's looking ahead to brighter times, even though it's in the time of year when it's dark, of course. The council seem to have considered investing much more in Christmas plans.
Yeah, jingle all the way for the council. Yeah, they're spending an extra £155,000 on Christmas this year, which is a phenomenal amount. But it's all to benefit, the local areas. They say, the money is coming from COVID funds. I can't remember what the exact term of the funding is. COVID recovery funding. That's it. Yes. So this has been suggested or recommended at the council's Economic Development and Regeneration Committee meeting, which was held on Tuesday, and then it will go before the full council at the end of the month, I think, or that's the start of July. I can't remember. One of the two, and that'll be ratified for for approval. So the plan would be that Lurgan would have its switch on either on Saturday, November the 19th, or Friday the 25th of November. And to accompany that, there'll be a twilight market, which I think there had been in the past, but obviously in the last couple of years that hadn't happened due to COVID. And basically this is being hailed as there's other areas as well who'll be getting these twilight markets, plus as well some of the smaller villages, the likes of Waringstown, Donagh as well, set to have little events too. And this is all to try and attract people into the towns at that busy time of year to spend a bit of money.
What they have done, I'm aware of this. I was aware of the actual searching for information and thoughts about the previous event last Christmas, which I have to say, in Lurgan's point of view, was excellent.
Yeah, it really was.
First class, great numbers turned up. They've taken the feedback fairly obviously that people were, I can't say they weren't disappointed, but I think they were surprised that there weren't some markets. But I think that was down to COVID and a lack of timing and opportunity to organise such things. But now, from what you say, they seem to have taken that on board. And the other thing that seems to be in doubt, it's not a big difference either way, I suppose, is to have it on a Friday night or a Saturday night. And the Friday night lends itself to vote. The Saturday night gives you a different night. I think it was to allow traders a better opportunity or a different opportunity. I'm not sure just exactly. Yeah. I thought it was a success. I thought it was really well organised and the output was really good. Santa Claus was very credible. There's a lot of visuals, lots of, I forget what they call them, when they put these big characters out on the streets, the big tall stilts, the lighted characters, really, really effective and give you a sense of Christmas, basically, of that kind of celebratory aspect of it. And the sound systems and the entertainment and all that, really, really good job, yeah. I thought.
Oh yeah, I mean, the town was buzzing. We were up at it. It was one of the first Facebook Lives we ever did. And it was fantastic. Everybody seemed to have a really good night. In terms of, you mentioned there the Friday night, Saturday thing. Just to explain, so the plans at the minute are the Portadown will have its twilight market on the 18th of November. Now, the Bildies is the twilight market. I assume that the switch-ons will happen at the same time. Doesn't make it very clear here in the, in what we've got from the council, but I'm assuming that's what's happened because that's what happened previously. So Portadown will be on the 18th, which is a Friday night. Then Lurgan is scheduled for either the Saturday, the 19th, or the 25th, which would be the Friday the 25th. But Banbridge is also scheduled for Friday the 25th. So it may just be down the resources, which makes that decision. And then there'll also be one in Drumore on December the 3rd, which is a Saturday as well. So, but no, those tend to be really good events. The Twilight Markets seem to be very good. Lots of local produce at those as well, which is great. And you get to help a small business out by maybe buying somebody a nice Christmas present, which is always a good way to spend your Christmas.
Yeah, good stuff. I have to encourage a trade, that's for sure. And a bit of variety too, that you're not used to, and getting out and seeing the lights and seeing people at the Christmas, very important. We've had 1 or 2 or 3 almost Christmases where we didn't see any, but you'll probably be out of isolation by then. We'll keep our fingers crossed for you anyway.
Yes, I certainly hope so.
So I've been out and about, as you've seen in the report on Friday, to find out about plenty of light and buzzing about and cars and all sorts of stuff in the Waringstown area, the Waringstown Cavalcade. Fascinating bunch of people, really, really strong, powerful, empowering story about how kidney research has benefited from the Kerr family who started off the whole idea of this kidney research fund and the Cavalcade itself. Marvellous, marvellous event. And well, what more can you say about it? You've been well aware of it over the years. I've kind of just come to it recently.
Well, Walter and Josie had an unfortunate series of events back in the, I'm not sure the exact years, but it would have been the late 60s, where they unfortunately lost 3 of their children, babies at birth or shortly afterward. And as a result of that, Josie and Walter started up the Northern Ireland Kidney Research Fund as a means to raising funds into kidney research, new equipment, that type of thing. So it all originates back to 1971. The Cavalcade started just as a fundraiser in the early days for the Northern Ireland Kidney Research Fund, and it started off as a very small event, but over the years it has grown considerably, and it's now a major fundraiser for the charity. Well, the event always takes place on the last Friday night in June, and from probably about 5 o'clock the vintage vehicles will start together. It's a very large event now. It started off a very small event, but over the years it has grown, and I think on average now we have about 500, 600 entries. So the complete town is more or less taken over for the evening. And it's divided up into different categories. You have the motorbikes, you have the tractors, you have the cars, and we've different marshals for the different areas. And at certain times they're all released and they go for a bit of a drive to Lurgan and back, and hopefully it all works according to plan. Doesn't always run smoothly, but with so many people being here, so many vehicles, but we do our best, but there's always the odd hiccup.
Yeah, well, that safety is number one. We're here we're here because we're dedicated in Northern Ireland Kidney Research Fund to save lives. So our event safety is absolutely number one, and that's where Ian said with the marshals, with support from the PSNI, and we have a lot of all our health and safety plans. But we want an enjoyable night, a community event, and raise awareness, raise money for the Northern Ireland Kidney Research Fund, and most important is that the event goes off safely.
300 or 400 entrants. Are they coming from all over North and South, or just Northern Ireland?
All over. We get a few from the South, and then up north there's one family come from Ballycastle every year, and a wee mini down for the event. So all over. We're over the £10 million mark. I don't have the exact figures. The treasurer would have that, but we're over the £10 million mark, and it is. All of that is dedicated to research in Northern Ireland, and it's made Northern Ireland one of the leaders in kidney research and treatment, and in terms of donations and transplantation. So we're very proud of that legacy.
And it all started in Ballybracket Post Office, as it were.
That's correct, Walter and Josie. So again, Josie lost Josie 29 years ago, but the legacy of the great work that she had started, her and Walter, is ongoing today, and will continue as long as we can continue volunteering and supporting it and get the support.
I mean, it's a really, really good event. It shows something. I can't remember the last time I was at it, to be quite honest, but as I know, I've always had something on that night. It's always something I've been meaning to attend, but I've always, for some reason, this year's no exception, by the way. I've got tickets to a concert, so I'm missing it again. But, it's always a really good event. It brings out a massive crowd into Waringstown, and the line of cars. In fact, tell a lie, the last time I saw it, I actually got stuck in traffic coming home through it, and I was near enough part of the procession myself in my little Ford Fiesta. No, it's a really good event, and all for a fantastic cause. I mean, the story, as you say, of Northern Ireland Kidney Research Foundation is just fantastic, and it's great to see that legacy continue this event, which I have no doubt at all will be a huge success once again.
£10 million they reckon they've raised so far, and the amount of lives they've enhanced and saved as well in that research and reaching out is magnificent. Well done to all concerned. Can I ask you, can I pop out if you're going to the concert? I can pop out and have a wee look. What do you think?
Yeah, by all means, get along there. Show your face. Yeah.
Show my big nose.
I didn't mean it like that, honestly.
Yeah.
Never meant it like that.
Maybe I'll get lights on it. You never know. So we'll be doing a live, maybe too. You never know, at the cavalcade, the Waringstown Cavalcade, and it's this coming Friday, and that is the 24th of June. Is that the 24th of June? It's the last Friday of the month.
23rd, is it? No,
20,
sorry, you're right. 24th.
Yeah, 24th. So it should be a bit of fun at that too. And if you see me pointing a camera or saying hello, well, why don't you come up and say hello?
He doesn't.
Michael, meanwhile, will be going to a concert. I don't know who's the concert? Can we ask?
Liam Gallagher. I've been waiting We've been waiting 2 years for this concert. It's been cancelled, I don't know how many times. But finally, we're getting to go and see him at where is it? Ormeau Park. Yeah. So
that's if you're able to leave your beautiful oasis at home.
Yes. Yeah.
See what I did there?
I think I should be okay by then. I need to go and double check the dates, but I think I should be all right, just about to get out by then.
Just about. Well, best of luck. Give Liam my best.
Oh well,
Tell him I prefer the brother, but that's another story.
Oh, that's a different story.
So let's get to the nose. Okay, so I fell on my nose, and then I got up, and I was given, I have to say it, I didn't say it elsewhere. The civic defence are similar to our St. John's ambulance and various ambulance groups that go and offer their services voluntary at different events. I was looked after like a royal. I really was. I had 3 girls all looking after me. I was getting my arm blood checked because I had blood, you see. I also got my finger pricked to check for glucose. I got my nose done and dusted and all cleaned up. It was fantastic. And then I got to watch a game among games. Armagh versus Donagh. The game was spectacular, brilliant start, tight first half, and then the second half, Armagh exploded into magnificence. They were just about magnificent. They put Donagh into another place, and they won by 10 full points. What a game. Fantastic. Great performances all around the pitch. And we're heading back to Croke Park this time next week. Woohoo!
Unbelievable. For a fantastic achievement. And, the campaign to turn Croker orange is well underway. And do you know what? It's been a great success so far, because I believe 60,000 tickets have been sold for the game, and not necessarily all by or to Armagh fans, but a fair whack of them have been sold to Armagh fans, from what I understand. And we have been reporting, Eugene Creaney, by the way, who's been doing fantastic work on this, has been working on how the fans will be getting to the match. And we brought news, first of all, that TransLink were going to release excuse me, TransLink were going to release special trains to go to Croke Park for the match. So we put the information out that this was happening. The next day we put it out, the tickets were going on sale now. However, within a few minutes we had to change the story because the train had sold out pretty much straight away. I think there was actually 2 trains that sold out straight away. They're taking over 1,000 extra fans to the game, and I'm led to believe that there are, by the start of this coming week, there should be news of more transport being arranged to the game. So hopefully that should make things a wee bit easier to try and get supporters down to the game.
It's a great way of travelling. There's no doubt about it, particularly to a game. The atmosphere can be fantastic. I remember doing it in a rugby sphere many, many years ago. My goodness, could have been 25 or 30, and we went with a bunch of fellas, and the crack was mighty. And the crack coming back was mighty too. I can't even remember who won, but Ireland were playing, and it didn't matter. It was just the excuse. Bit of a long walk to the game at that stage. Croke Park's not that very far from the game, and then it's a coming back. It'll be a robust episode regardless. That's what I wouldn't be looking forward to. But the idea of getting there and back so much more readily. What's an hour and 45 minutes the most, and you're there. And probably less, because if there are that many people, they won't be stopping. They won't be stopping to pick up people in Dundalk and Drogheda and all the rest. There'll be special trains. So it's a roller coaster ride, and then coming home. Hopefully the result will be the way we want it. I'd say that as an Armagh man, but you never know. But as you say, TransLink, they're caught between this place of, we'd like to have more trains, but we don't have them, or we can't coordinate them. That's usually the problem in these situations, isn't it?
Yeah, but the other thing they can do is just add on extra carriages to those trains that are going down. So that might be a possibility. So I think that's more likely to happen than extra trains, so to speak. But as I say, Eugene will be right across that. There, he'll have the information, as well as all the build up, which I'm sure we'll have right across the week. So Armagh fans, if you want to find out all the latest team news, keep with us. We'll keep you right.
We're hoping a nod towards yourself to allowing, of course, that we do another of our updates just before the big games. We're looking to see if we can be at a ground where there's games going on, discussing a wee bit about the club, but also about Armagh and the upcoming fixture. So look out on your Lurgan for that.
Yeah, and not only that there as well, I think Eugene would like us to come down and see the trains go off. So, even more importantly, if Armagh win, the train's coming back, which could be very interesting, I'm sure. But we'll have plenty of coverage, I'm sure, as the week goes on.
So we're still on sport. Bit of a big news story. It could have come further up the line, actually. A very interesting news from the AGM, Glenavon's AGM, which you were covering during the week. So tell us why that's important news and interesting news, and maybe controversial.
Slightly. Probably would have been more controversial about 10 or 20 years ago, maybe further back. But yes, my brief foray out of the house this week, whenever I was allowed to, Glenavon held their AGM. A couple of things which were up for discussion during that. One of them was the potential of Glenavon playing football on a Sunday, which there was a debate over it, but not so much as to whether or not it should happen, but more or how often it should happen, which I thought was quite interesting. So in the end, Glenavon have agreed that they will play one game at home on a Sunday and one game away. This is all because the Northern Ireland Football League last year held the League Cup final on a Sunday, sort of as an experiment to see how it would go. And it brought in a record crowd. So they want to try and build on that there. And as such, they want to try and create something called a weekend of football. So there might be games on a Friday night. There'll obviously be games on a Saturday. And within that, then there could be games on a Sunday. Now, here, we've got a clip from Adrian here who spoke to me about that, and also as well something else which is discussed about the possibility of Moorview Park moving from a grass pitch to a 4G synthetic pitch. Here's a little clip of that.
Well, I mean, basically, NIFL have asked the Premier League clubs, would you be prepared to play on a Sunday? And this was an ideal opportunity to speak to the shareholders, speak to the ticket holders, and see what the opinion was. And as you saw, with the exception that I think it was two people at the meeting, they were prepared to back a proposal that we play one game, agree to play one home game and one away game next season to test how it goes. Certainly in relation to attendances and so forth, you know.
Yeah, and one of the other things as well that was talked about was the possibility maybe down the line of a 4G pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we have discussed at board level. We've discussed it with the manager. We are reluctantly having that discussion. But the number of artificial pitches in the Premiership look like increasing, maybe to the extent that at least half the teams in the league have them. And you've got to wonder, you know, do we need to join them? Because there is distinct advantage to playing and training regularly on a synthetic surface. And Gary, who was steadfastly against this, is now coming around to that way of thinking. Instance, as I said at the meeting, that we have a number of pre-season friendlies for the first time where we're going to be playing an artificial pitch because Gary wants the players to get used to it.
Interesting stuff there, indeed. And straight from the horse's mouth, you didn't get that third or fourth hand, straight from the chairman. You're well versed with the club. You're in the middle of it. You're part of one of the supporters club there, so you know the feeling around. What has been the word on the street, as it were, within the groups that you involved?
I think a lot of people don't really mind. I sort of think this would have been more of an issue about 20, 30 years ago. But I think put it like this: I think people would still prefer their football at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. I'm the same. I absolutely would prefer that. But I think now we've got to the situation where people are like, the Sundays is a special day for various reasons, and you know, and I totally get that. I would agree, and I would, as I say, prefer to have football on a Saturday afternoon. But we're sitting now, we've got football on TV all the time. There's nothing stopping you watching TV. So what's the difference in, you know, going out and supporting your team on a Sunday? You know, the bars are open on a Sunday now. You can sit in a pub, have a lunch, have a pint and watch the football. So why can't you why should I not be able to go and do that? at a football match at a football stadium in Lurgan. That's the argument that's being made. Now, nobody's advocating that the entire league moves to a Sunday. Nobody's advocating that, you know, we should be doing this regularly. This is going to be sort of almost experimental to see how it goes. But I think there's a willingness now. I'm led to believe that all but one club, maybe one club hasn't quite played their hand yet, but I would suspect that they will basically say that they will be in favour of Sunday football. All but one clubs in the league have basically said, yes, we'll take part. So it looks like it's going to happen. The consequence was that basically if you didn't do it, the League Cup final is going to be played on a Sunday again next year. Therefore, if you didn't want to play in that final, there's no point in you entering. So,
because you're never going to get to play in the final otherwise.
Yeah. So,
well, do you think it might be an opportunity to attract those who, depending on teams not being involved, for Gaelic fans to go and watch on a Sunday, because they're used to the idea of a Sunday? I mean, it's putting it out there, but is it possible?
Funny, actually, one of the things that was mentioned, I don't really want to give away too many details as a shareholder. I have a lot of vested interest in this story, but we don't want to give away too much of what was said at the AGM, because that's Glenavon's meeting, and that's fair enough. But one of the things that was mentioned, I don't think I'll get in any trouble for mentioning this, was that it has been noted that there are a growing number of people who are coming to watch Glenavon play, and they're coming wearing their GAA tops, which is, that's fine, no problem. Come and support your team, why not? And that is one thing. I think what would probably be a bigger market for Glenavon at the minute is the fact that Glenavon are playing games up against the likes of the Mid-Ulster League. And if Glenavon are playing on a Sunday, it means that it's a separate day from when those boys and men and whoever else
tied up with playing themselves. Absolutely, yeah.
So the only issue will be how they explain to their wives and girlfriends that they're not available on Sunday afternoon because they now have to go and watch another football match. So it'll be an interesting. I think it'll be an interesting experiment to see how that pans out. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it affects, because there are a lot of people who won't want to go on a Sunday, which is fine, but there'll be a lot of people who it will suit to go on a Sunday. So will it just balance itself out? Will we get bigger crowds? Will we get smaller crowds? All will be revealed, but it'll be one home game for Glenavon and one away anyway. So we'll see what happens over the course of the season. Now, those fixtures, by the way, just to mention as well, fixtures were released on Saturday. We have a full rundown on your Lurgan. So check out the website. They'll all be there. Unfortunately, we don't know them because we're recording this beforehand. But
give the secret away. There you go. You spoiled my whole day.
Listen, it'll be fine. Don't worry.
You
one thing that is guaranteed: Glenavon will play Portadown on Boxing Day. I can tell you that much.
There you are. You also mentioned the 4G pitches, because I get confused now. There's 5G on the phone, 4G on the phone, 3G on the pitch, 4G. What is the 4G and what does it mean? And what does it mean to Glenavon?
4G is basically a plastic pitch. But now we're talking a lot of. If you go to the likes of using your Lurgan Junior High here, for example, they've got one down. A lot of facilities nowadays have them. Most of the council facilities have them now as well. But and this is again another one that I'm a bit of a traditionalist, and I believe that football should be played on grass. It makes sense. It's what I was always taught. So football should be played on grass. Although, mind you, if you asked anybody who ever saw me play football, they'd probably think that I thought football should be played in the air because I tend to hoof the ball a lot. But
I just want to point out to you here, there's a barking dog about.
Oh, there's one outside. Yeah, there's one of my neighbours of the window open for ventilation. Because
just to continue, we have to mention the elephant in the room or the dog out in the field. But anyway,
So yes, it's a synthetic surface. It makes the ball move a bit faster as well. A lot of the clubs now in the Irish League have them. I reckon I think Adrian Tier said there around half of the clubs now either have them or will have them. So it's a debate over whether you join them and get one yourself. And it was interesting as well, as he points out, that a lot of Glenavon's pre-season friendlies that are coming up for the first time are being played on plastic pitches because Gary Hamilton made the case, these are not good for players' careers. They're a harder ground. They, if you injure yourself on them, it might take yourself a bit longer to recover from injury. But it's just something the players are going to have to get used to now, I think. And
wasn't there controversy years ago, maybe 30 years ago, when, I don't know, was it West Ham or some of these teams?
Was it Luton and QPR tried it?
Yeah, Luton and QPR, and it came and it went in a flash.
Yeah,
it disappeared. They pulled a different technology, perhaps.
Yeah, it was a different type of surface. I think what it would have been closer to what a hockey pitch would be.
Okay.
I think that's what they were playing on back then. But now we're talking, it looks like proper grass, like little wee rubber balls that are an absolute nightmare to get out of your socks, by the way, if you're playing football. Yeah, it's from, I suppose the other benefit to it as well is that the club would be able then to hire the pitch out, and you and I could arrange a 5-a-side match and play at Moorview Park, which would be quite an experience, But yeah, it opens up a whole new revenue stream to the club. But you're losing that at probably, like, Moorview Park is one of the best grass pitches in the country, to be honest. And Davy McClure, the groundsman, has done a fantastic job that, in maintaining that. So there's an argument to keep the grass pitch, but then do you move the times and move everybody else and go with plastic? It's a hard one to weigh up, and there will be a lot of discussion over what should happen there.
Watch this space for the final decisions, as it were. Your Lurgan. Well, that's just about it. I think we've scurried over all the stories. There are more to come, of course. So it's time for you to go back into isolation. I will take you out of your wee box in a week or two. No. We hope you're back and out and fighting fit before too long.
If I'm out next week, I'll come and see you on Friday. What about that?
That would be great. Good to see you. This has been another Your Lurgan podcast. If you want to get in touch, it's info@yourlurgan.com. It's the best way to do it. We have a Facebook page. You can comment on the Facebook posts about this podcast, or just as I say, get in touch, info@yourlurgan.com. I'm Donagh McKeown.
And I'm Michael Scott.
And thank you for watching, listening, wherever you get your podcasts. See you next week. Bye now.
Bye.